Okay, there's one last uh, animation help uh, constraint that may or may not be helpful for you. The uses of this specific way of animating on rigging bones is perhaps not as powerful, but for certain situations it may be useful. So now everything more or less in the skeleton is moving as we would like. However, if we want to move the toe bones, we'll still have to go back in and start essentially moving the bones themselves individually, which is arduous. We can create perhaps bones or controls which will allow us to control each toe bone individually without having to go and actually select the bone. But then you would have to have as many controls for as you have toe bones. One way you can help to circumvent having to animate very complex toes like this is to have set-driven keys. Essentially, right now, if we move the toe, all the rest of the toes down the chain move in a one-to-one relation. We may not want that, in that perhaps if we bend the toe down, um, the next toe in line will move and rotate in a certain way. So what we can do is go to animate, set driven key, set, and up pops the set driven key window. Select the top toe bone, or perhaps whatever appendage would be useful to be um, this kind of setup where you select the top bone, load driver, press the button up there, go to the next uh, bone in down the line and load driven. You want to rotate this and this in a very certain way. So in the window, select your top joint. In this case, we want to rotate the Z. And the bottom joint, we also want to rotate the Z. In that the rotation of the Z on the top joint will control the rotate Z on the bottom joint. And we just want to press the key button when we select the correct channels. Over in the channel editor, we see the rotate Z um, turning red for the lower joint. And that means that whenever the top joint's rotation is 0, the bottom joint's rotation will always also be 0. So now go back and rotate the top joint and the next joint in the whatever rotation you want, and uh, press the key button again. Now, when you rotate the top joint back to 0, the the top toe will go back to 0 as well. You rotate the top again down, and the bottom will rotate in a similar fashion back to where you set the set-driven key. So that is just simply another tool which you can use. Again, you don't want to go after setting the keys to have to rotate like this again. You would perhaps like to have another control. Um, at this point, a circle may not be the best intuitive control which you can have. You might want a sphere or a cube or a cylinder or anything that you would like. At this point, you will simply just create whatever control shape you want, move it over somewhere, freeze transformations, and you would want the whatever tool you, or shape you're using to be constrained with a parent, and you only want to rotate, like say, I believe the Z. Yes. So now, after you set your driven keys, you won't have to go back into the skeleton. You simply use your control to move the rotation. So right now, I'm just going to very quickly set driven key the entire chain. That I want to go into the top joint and the bottom joint next in line, and I want to set the key right now to 0, 0, move and rotate the next key, and key. So now if I move the top joint, it will curl in a convincing manner. Okay. I'm just going to manually set the rotation of the top bone to 0. Select the new top, which is the old bottom, load it as the driver. Go to the next bone, load as driven. Joint, rotate Z, set the 0, 0. Move the top joint back down. Rotate the Z perhaps by a little bit more. Key, rotated the top joint back to 0. And now when you rotate, everything moves as it should. Go back to your control, and yes, everything moves correctly. I just did it really quickly over there just now. You perhaps want to select values per set driven key to whatever you want. This isn't very useful, but it's very good. Say for like muscular um, appendages in your extremities, such as perhaps your fingers, where you have a very specific way of bending your fingers or bending your foot and toes, that this may be useful. So just another tool for you to use.